And I hope I'm bipartisan with all the other mayors. And I would also like to say I'm very pleased turnout. We decided on Monday to hold this news conference, to have 7 mayors here, to have city manager, Portland city manager of Lewiston, and from Bangor. I mean, we're very pleased to have this kind of turnout. But the reason we're here is to express the fact that we are deeply frustrated and deeply worried about the conversations that are occurring now within the legislature in regards to revenue sharing. May 20th has come and passed. And May 20th is a date that the Portland City Council traditionally for years has passed our budget. But this May 20th, we did not pass our budget. And we put it off until June 17th in hopes that there would be some resolution in Augusta and that there would be an end to the uncertainty that has been created since this budget was proposed. I'm not even convinced at this point, by June 17th, we will have a clearer picture of what the legislature and the governor might do in regards to revenue sharing. When this budget was first proposed, there was universal, if not unanimous, opposition to a number of different items in the budget. But in particular, there was opposition to suspending revenue sharing. It was widespread. In fact, there were dozens of communities across the state that took the time to pass resolutions opposing the suspension of revenue sharing. Despite that universal opposition, we're here today hearing from both Democrats and Republicans and the governor proposals that would significantly alter revenue sharing and reduce revenue sharing to our municipalities. And you've already heard from the other mayors and potentially from the city managers the impact of even the slightest reduction in revenue sharing and what that would have for our municipalities. We cannot, as a state, have this type of tax shift occur. We can simply not have that happen. We cannot drive economic development at the local level and meet the needs of our citizens and sustain a reduction in revenue sharing. Several weeks ago, the governor sent many of us a letter and said, I'm not happy with the budget that I proposed. And he said, I'm looking for suggestions for what you would do if you were to put together the budget. The Mayors Coalition wrote a letter to the governor, and we offered 3 potential solutions or directions for the legislature to move in, as well as his administration, in terms of addressing the budget. We stand here today still offering those 3 options to the legislature, to the governor, in order to resolve this budget situation at this point. We think they're reasonable, we think they're legitimate, and we think they'll work. And we're here today to ask other legislators, to ask the governor, to ask those people that are involved in this negotiation to look to our proposals and to use some combination of those proposals in order to address these issues. Lastly, I just received a copy of a letter that 67 members of the House and 8 senators sent to their leadership. And it was dated in May, and I just want to read one paragraph because I think it summarizes my sentiments and hopefully those of other mayors. But it says the cuts, this was directed to Senator Alfon, to Speaker Eves, to Democratic leadership, and both the chairs of the Appropriations Financial Affairs Committee. But it said the cuts to our schools that began with the curtailment are now joined by the transfer of responsibility for teacher retirement costs and the suspension of revenue sharing. For the first time, the governor fails to adequately fund education as defined by Essential Programs and Services formula. These are all simply cost shifts to the arguably most regressive component of our tax system, the property tax. These cuts and the tax shift are simply unacceptable. Our Appropriations Financial Affairs members know how to fix problems, and we hope that they will move forward in that direction. This, again, was a letter that was drafted and sent by members of the legislature to the leadership, to the Appropriations Committee. They've summarized quite nicely the dilemma that we face, not only on the revenue sharing side, but on the school funding side. And again, we're here today to urge the legislature to act responsibly, to examine the proposals that we've put forward. And I think every taxpayer in the state of Maine is at risk, as we stand here today, for experiencing a tax increase if the legislature moves forward with the proposals that are currently being discussed. So thank you very much. And